I've been doing photography for 13 years as an enthusiast photographer, and currently I own 11 cameras, from pocket-sized compacts to full-on micro four thirds mirrorless setups to even a Leica M camera. Is this a passion for photography or is it just a gear obsession? Stay tuned as I break down my camera collection and reveal how each one plays its part in my creative process. So finally, my current state of camera collection. This video will not be a review of each individual cameras, that will take way too long. Instead, I wanna emphasize more on the use case of each camera, why I got that particular camera, and how I implement it on my photography or video workflow. That being said, this video is not about inducing gear acquisition syndrome to you. I am against gear acquisition syndrome. I'm all about using what you already have and try to maximize its potential, and not just about buying new gear. I'm simply sharing my collection and hopefully you can learn more from this video. Now let's start with the first camera. Let's start with this guy right here. This is my Panasonic Lumix GX8, the oldest micro four thirds camera in this entire collection. Bought it in 2015, it was my primary photography and video camera until it was somewhat replaced by the Lumix G85. So this camera has some really nice features. First of all, it has this tilting viewfinder, it's really cool. And then it has fully articulating screen. And then also it has 20 megapixel sensor, the largest megapixel count on my entire camera collection. It has a very rudimentary IBIS, so it works for still photography but not for video. Manual control with this camera is really great. Plenty of dials and buttons. The grip is excellent. It even has microphone jack, even though it's only 2.5mm and you have to use adapter, but it works. And it also has weather sealing, so surprising amount of features. Currently, I'm not using this camera as my main primary camera for photography and video. In fact, I don't really use this camera a lot these days. I use it only for specialized lenses like the Panasonic Lumix 100-300 Ultra telephoto lens, or maybe for some macro photography. But other than that, I don't really use this camera that much, and that's a shame. I could just sell it, but I have a lot of sentimental value to this camera, so I'm not really planning to get rid of it. Next, it's this guy right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix LX100. Such an interesting camera. So this is a compact camera, but it has 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor with multi-aspect ratio capability, and also a built-in non-interchangeable lens with focal length of 24-75mm equivalent, and then also aperture of f1.7 to f2.8. Such an interesting package. It has some great features like viewfinder, great manual controls. It even has its own shutter speed dial instead of the usual PASM dial. And also, more importantly, it has live shutter option so that you can do flash photography in really high shutter speed, which is the reason why I bought this camera back then in 2016. Back then, I was really into strobist photography or off-camera flash photography. I will show some sample pictures, but it was really great for portraits and for a little bit of product photography. And the live shutter of the LX100, again, really helps for that. I can use high shutter speed and get great result. But nowadays, I don't really do strobist anymore. I still do it sometimes, but not a whole much. And that makes the LX100 kind of a little bit neglected. I don't really use it that much, but sometimes I still use it for like family and friends gatherings, that kind of stuff. Next camera is this guy right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix G85. So this is my main camera for serious photography projects and also for helping me to create YouTube videos, especially for recording B-roll. So I bought this guy back then in 2019, and it was my primary YouTube video camera for recording A-roll video like what I'm doing right now, talking head. But right now I'm using another camera, which we will get into. Anyway, this camera is really nice. It has all the professional features that I really need. It has weather sealing, 16 megapixel sensor with in-body stabilizer, a microphone jack, of electronic viewfinder, which is really nice, and then fully articulating screen and just great manual control. Besides using this guy for capturing b-roll and for series photography project, I actually use the G85 also for capturing the thumbnails of my YouTube videos. So it was usually captured using this guy and this lens, which is the Olympus 12 to 40mm f2.8. And also I traveled a few times with this guy to Iceland, to Bali, to New Zealand, and it was really great. However, it's a bit too big and too heavy for travel for my own personal taste. Next, it's this guy right here, currently my favorite camera. This is the Panasonic Lumix GX85. So this is like a toned down version of the G85. It has the same 16 megapixel sensor with in-body stabilizer. It doesn't have weather sealing, and it's a little bit less in terms of controls and dials and grip, but it's still such a capable camera. It still has proper manual control, and the screen is kind of articulating but not fully flipping, but it doesn't have audio jack. I bought this guy in 2022 and it has been my Swiss Army knife kind of camera. It can do it all. I use it for everyday photography, for travel, for recording b-roll, and even for series photography project as well, and this camera can deliver it all. I especially love the GX85's form factor. It just feels so nice in my hand and it really inspires me to take more pictures, and it's just such a fun camera. Next, it's this guy right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix GX850, or also known as the GF9. So this is like my B camera for my GX85 because it is smaller, it is lighter, so perfect for travel and also for everyday photography. And that's exactly how I use it. I don't really use the GX850 for professional or serious photography project. This is strictly only for recording b-rolls and everyday and also travel photography. So in terms of features, it really sucks, to be honest. It doesn't have that much feature. Even manual control is quite dinky compared to the GX85, but still it's a fun little camera. It has this fully flipping screen, and then yeah, that's about it. The nice thing about the GX850 is just its size and weight. Very lightweight, very compact, making it perfect again for travel photography. Next, this is another interesting camera. This is the Leica M8.2. It has some interesting specs over here. So we have the lowest megapixel count, only 10 megapixel CCD sensor. This is the lowest compared to my other cameras, but it has the largest sensor size, APS-C, larger than Micro Four Thirds, even larger than APS-C. It's almost full frame, and it has the oldest kind of technology. It has the CCD sensor, so it's a little bit prone to infrared, so I have to use the IR filter on my lenses all the time with this camera. So this camera was gifted to me earlier this year. I'm very grateful for this camera, and that's a reason why I don't want to sell this camera. But in terms of its function, this is a camera that I reach out to when I just want to immerse myself in the beauty of the process of photography, when I just want to have fun. I always say that photography is not just about the end result, it's also about enjoying the process and having fun. And this camera is kind of perfect for that reason. Everything you have to set manually. You have to set the shutter speed, you have to set the aperture, the focus, you have to check the viewfinder and try to align everything to get it in focus. And I just really enjoyed that kind of process. And now I start to understand the Leica M's kind of methodology, what makes it interesting. And yeah, this is, I think, my gateway to the Leica M cameras. I'm not really using it for serious photography project. I don't really use this for travel photography. This is for just like my personal projects when I just want to challenge myself and have fun with photography. Next is this guy right here, another compact camera. This is the Canon Powershot G15. I bought this back then in 2013, so this is one of my oldest camera, but I still kind of use it a little bit today. So yeah, as a compact camera, the G15 is definitely interesting because it has great manual control, all the buttons and dials that you need to do manual exposure settings and whatnot. And yeah, back then I treated almost like a serious camera, like a mirrorless camera. But nowadays I use this for my JPEG practice camera. So I set the camera to JPEG. I use some, random filters that I want to try out, and I just try to get it right in camera. Because actually shooting in JPEG is more challenging than shooting in RAW in my own personal experience. So I want to get back to JPEG using this camera and try to challenge myself even more. Next is the camera that's currently recording this video right now. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I just love this guy so much for recording A-roll talking head YouTube video like what I'm doing right now, and also for travel vlog because it is very small, very compact and lightweight. It has built-in gimbal, so the stabilization is really great and the video image quality is just so nice. Occasionally I will use the Osmo Pocket 3 to record a little bit of B-rolls, but that's very rare because for B-roll I prefer the G85 because I can use different kinds of lenses to get different kinds of focal lengths. This one only has one focal length, 20mm. It's kind of limiting, but for talking head videos, once again, it's perfect. Next is this guy right here. This is the DJI Osmo Action 4. You remember that I bought the Pocket 3 to replace the G85 for talking head videos. Well, now I got the Osmo Action 4 to replace the Pocket 3 for POV vlogs and outdoor vlogging. So yeah, not for studio camera because I think Pocket 3 still do a really great job for indoor studio kind of environment like this, and also for talking head like when you're outside. But this is more convenient in my opinion because it doesn't have the gimbal, so it's quicker and faster and more nimble. Also, it is rugged and weather sealed. The Pocket 3 is a little bit more fragile in my opinion. Image quality as an action cam, I think it's quite good. I use it strictly only for video. For low light, the Pocket 3 still wins, but for daylight situation, which I'm usually at most of the time, then the Action 4 will be more than enough for me. Another action camera, this guy right here, this is the Insta360 One R with the 1-inch sensor module right here. I don't really use this guy that much, and I gave this to my wife so my wife can record some B-rolls that have me in the shot for like explaining things and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't really use this guy because the Action 4 is so much better than this guy, especially for close focusing distance. This can have anything in focus from 30 centimeters all the way to infinity. This guy, you need to be at least 1 meter away from the lens to have everything in focus. So yeah, not ideal for my POV vlogs, but for like general scenery kind of footage for B-rolls, I think this is okay. Next is my phone. This is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. I'm aware that there's a newer Z Fold 6, but this guy is so much cheaper and it has pretty much the same internals as that guy. So in terms of photography, this is like my Swiss Army knife device, not just camera, but also editing machine and also for publishing to upload directly to YouTube or my social media or my website. So yeah, it's very convenient. It has 3 different kinds of lenses, ultra wide, normal and telephoto. It's more than enough for me for casual photography. I use this guy for JPEG. Obviously, I don't really shoot RAW with the Z Fold 5. For quick and convenient capturing device, for just snapshots, not really for serious photography, although you can take great pictures with it, and also for recording B-roll videos. So that's all for my cameras. Hopefully this has been entertaining and fun and informative for you guys. Again, I want to emphasize that I don't want to induce gear acquisition syndrome on you guys. I just want to merely showcase how I use each cameras and how they all perform in my photography and video workflow. Hopefully you can learn something from this video and be able to apply it to your own photography and video workflow. So I want to know from you guys, please comment down below how many cameras do you have and what are they? So also, if you have any question, please comment down below as well, and I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you enjoy my work, you can support me by using the affiliate links on the description below, or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.